Ready?
So
this
ready.
is so sketch.
I don't know what to expect, honestly.
This is just have a good time.
Okay.
Enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VoV podcast, Voices of Vic. Today I am joined with the amazing Minla Stokes. How's it going, Minla? Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. How are things? So thank you. First of all, thank you so much for making the time for VoV.
Of course.
We're getting close to finals, so I appreciate you coming on. How are things with you?
Things are okay. I haven't been doing anything.
Okay.
I've been sitting around and listening to Netflix shows.
Listening to Netflix shows?
Uh-huh.
Not watching?
No, because I can't because of the concussion.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get into that.
And one of them I've been watching is Love is Blind season 3, and it was so bad, but it was good.
Isn't season 4 out? I thought I saw something about Love is Blind season 4.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm tripping.
Yeah, I'll have to catch up on that.
What is that? My mom, I'm going to call out my mom. First thing on this show. She says that she doesn't like these. She always calls them trash. Love is Blind, Bachelorette, all this stuff. She's like, it's terrible TV. It's so terrible what these people are doing. But she's like glued to the screen. Are you the same way, or do you just admit that you like the show?
Oh, I admit it. I love them.
Yeah.
I always say, oh my God, it's so bad, it's so good. Like, it's so bad, it's good.
Yeah.
My mom is the exact same way. She's like, Minla, why are you putting that trash into your brain? And then I'm just like, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It gives that dopamine rush, you know?
That's
Especially MILF Manor.
What's that?
Okay.
MILF Manor.
MILF Manor. So the way this one works, I think it's like 6 moms and 6 sons. Their sons.
Oh, I've heard
all
about
on a
this.
freaking dating show together, and it is so disgustingly good. Like, you always have to add like a bad adjective to describe how good it is.
I've heard about it. So
Yeah.
wait, do they get sent to an island? That's a different thing.
Yeah. No,
Or
they
that's
do.
that.
They're on an island
What?
somewhere, like secluded in like Mexico or something. And they don't know. I don't know how they don't know, but they were like, "Oh, we thought we were just going on a separate dating show," and then they get revealed, and they're like, "Mom."
That's insane. They're not dating their own, so they get paired up with each other's moms.
Yeah, and the other really gross thing is that they share their rooms with their moms. Not the same bed, same room. So
Yeah.
if they want to like get another mom and like into their bedroom, they have to get through their mom first.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's really entertaining.
That is ridiculous TV. So that is all these types of shows. I think I've watched like one season of The Bachelor before. Mm-hmm. It is, I don't know, something about it. If it's on, I'll watch it. Mm-hmm. Like if my mom's watching it and I'm chilling in the basement, I'll be like, "What is this shit?" Like, but I'm like looking over, right?
Yeah.
But like I would never check, when's the next season dropping, anything like that. What do you think works better as a dynamic, Bachelor or Bachelorette?
I haven't watched either.
Okay. Well, you know the premise or no?
I know for The Bachelor, he has like 12 women, and then whoever gets into the next round, he gives a rose to. And I've seen a lot of like TikToks of like this one girl that thought she got called, and then she tripped on the rug, and then she was like, "Oh my God," something like that. But the most recent season, I think, I don't know much about it, but I saw another TikTok.
Yeah.
This is where I'm getting my really amazing information.
Yeah.
Right? And every time he was about to reject a girl, he'd go, like, he's like, "You're great," or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh. I don't know how they like choose these people. But you know what? If they could find love on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, so be it.
I don't know who would sign up for that to find love. You know what I mean? Like, they have to propose, no? I think that's what The Bachelor is.
They do.
At the very end of the show, you have to propose to the person, whatever. I don't know is it more interesting to watch 12 dudes chase one girl or 12 girls chase one dude? Because that's what it is.
Honestly, I think 12 girls chase one dude.
Yeah?
Let me think about why. I think when you're watching, I feel like there's a lot of, I feel like every other dating show I've watched, the girls always like band together and they're like, "So this is what he told me," and then they'll like cross-check their information, and if they're like, "Oh, he told me I'm the only one," and then another girl's like, "He told that to me too," then they'll be like, "Oh, that he's trash," and then like there's always like, "Okay, so we agree."
I'm trying to think of what happens more in real life. is there usually, I think the guys usually chase the girls. So I think The Bachelorette is a more realistic show. I don't know. There's just like a kind of a culture where the guy is, expected to make the first move. It kind of makes sense, in my opinion. But yeah, it's
what
interesting.
What makes sense about it?
I mean, I like to think of it as the girl is the prize. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And in that sense, guys, I don't want to get labeled anything here, but guys necessarily, I think that it is a guy's job to kind of prove himself to the girl instead of the other way around.
But do you think that dynamic is set up because of the whole, there's more, like, the way one of my friends put it was that, especially with, like, Tinder, you'll see it, there's, like, girls have all these options.
Yeah.
And then, like, the top, like, 5% of users that, like, are conventionally attractive get swiped right on. And then...
Of girls or of guys?
Of guys.
Okay,
of guys.
Yeah.
But then, for girls, apparently, like, there's a lot more, like, guys will just, like, swipe right on everyone.
Yeah,
but will be a lot more selective.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think that kind of dynamic of the guy having to ask the girl first is set up because of that whole chasing?
I see what you mean. That's a good point. That is a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Where there's only a select, because, okay, I'll rephrase. Mm-hmm. There are girls that will chase guys, but I think it's a much smaller percentage that get chased. Like dudes, girls, I feel like, I mean, not all girls, but I think in general that guys will hit on girls more than the other way around. So maybe, yeah, that's good. That's a good point. No, it's good insight.
Yeah. What's funny, though, is a lot of my friends that are in relationships, the girl has actually made the move first.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What am I thinking? Do my friends...
I don't know if that's
I'm not friends with a lot of... I mean, I don't know too much about my friends' relationships. I don't do that. This is something that my mom always gets after me for.
Yeah.
Is she... Like, I don't really ask very personal questions. Obviously, when we're doing this, I'll ask you, about your entire life history. Dive deep into Minla's background. But, like, I don't get into too much detail about that stuff, like relationships in the sense of, like, who made the first move? When was you guys' first kiss? Oh my God. Like, that seems kind of like, I don't know. I don't do that too much. Do you do that?
Oh my God, yes.
All the time.
All the time. Last year in Ansley, my friend group, whenever one of my friends, she would tell me all of her stories, like detail for detail, like very, very all of it. And I'd be like, yes, feed me more. I love this stuff. But every single time I talk to a guy, they're like, oh, you kissed? Cool. Like, it means nothing to them. But I think because maybe because we grew up with like the whole like princess movies and like I feel like we've come to like romanticize that a lot more. So that's why it's a lot more prevalent for us to talk about, because I don't know, especially for me, I'd always watch like, Cinderella, Mulan, blah, 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 where there's a prince and there's a princess, and then they finally get together, and it's like, oh, yay. But then you guys, it's like Transformers.
Yeah, that's true. Power Rangers.
Yeah, there's not a lot. I always shipped pink and red together.
Yeah. Ninja Turtles. There's no female Ninja Turtle, unfortunately. Yeah. Pink and red Power Ranger. I actually don't remember that show too well.
I watched Samurai, though.
Samurai. I think I might know what that is. Is that the one where they all join together and make a big Power Ranger?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Do you think that stuff is like learned, or do you think it's like girls are just naturally interested in those stories more than guys? Or do you think it's like a societal thing? It's like we're trying to make guys and girls a certain way.
There's definitely society, because the whole like standards for men, standards for women. There's like blue for boys, pink for girls, and then that whole bi-section. I forgot what the word was. Like just binary. Jesus.
Yes.
Brain fart. There's just so much separation into binaries based on sex that it kind of pushes you into this kind of culture of either blue and masculinity and power and like violence or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, Princess Sparkles, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I think that's getting a lot better now, obviously, is like talks about, you know, gender and things like that are coming up a lot more. But I think it's definitely just because of that whole old idea of like blue and pink.
Yeah,
And
because there are naturally feminine guys out there. Like I think that's the distinction. I think it's blue, like we try to make it blue for boys, pink for girls, where it's really like blue for masculine people and pink for feminine people. That's the way I see it, at least. Yeah. And obviously there are more feminine girls than feminine guys, obviously. But that I think the binary makes more sense of like a masculine type of energy and a feminine energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But no, that's interesting. I should have explained at the start why I have a phone. We talked about it off camera, but Krishna is not here to produce, unfortunately, and usually his laptop has the mic. I'm moving this all right now, they won't hear me. So I have to speak into this. I'm sorry if the audio is like complete trash, but it is what it is. We're going to make do. Hopefully.
Power through.
Yeah, power through. And also Minla doesn't have headphones. I feel bad. We're not giving her the full experience today.
You know what? That separation of me and my voice is...
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. We'll talk about your concussion.
Okay.
How bad is it? Are you healing? Are you okay? I want to know if you're doing well. That's the first question.
Physically, no way.
No?
No, ever since 2016, I want to say. 2015. Ever since then, I have had an injury probably every single year.
Jeez.
It started off as an ankle break / sprain because there was nothing left to break at the end.
Yeah.
For the first 3 years, and then it turned into an ACL reconstruction, and then it turned into just knee problems, and then it's like consistently just ankle and knee now. But adding on top of that, my first concussion happened when I was crutching back from physical therapy from my surgery this last March.
Yeah.
And it was raining, and I was like hobbling across 14th Street in New York on my way home, and then my foot just completely slides from underneath me, and I hit the back of my head against the hard pavement. And I actually lost consciousness for about 1 or 2 seconds.
Jeez.
And then I like remember gaining consciousness, and I was like lying back like this, like with my crutches splayed out, and I could not move my hands. Like I thought I was like, oh my God, am I paralyzed? And I was like, no, I'm not. Okay. So that was the first one, and it actually healed pretty quickly.
Scary.
It is.
Yeah.
And then the second one happened while I was doing hip thrusts. And as I was like moving back to like lift the weights up, start my set, I hit my head against the squat rack. And I was like, oh, it's fine. We're fine. And so I like finished my set.
Yeah.
And then these 3 fingers get smashed between the bar and like a plate. And I think probably did do a little damage to them.
Yeah.
But after I finished that, I like threw up into the garbage can at AC, like in front of, like in the field house, in front of everyone. I was like, I'm so embarrassed right now. And then I was walking home, and I was sensitive to light and sound. I was like, oh, it's just because I threw up. And then a roommate later goes, oh, could it be a concussion? I was like, oh shit, I think so.
Yeah.
So now we've been concussed for about a month now.
Oh, still like ongoing dealing with it. That's the thing, like concussions are not, it's there's a gray area, you know what I mean? Like it's not, you don't have an exact recovery time.
No.
It's just like, we'll see.
It's all individual.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That
have you
sucks. No. Concussion, no, I'm very lucky to never. I came close. I don't know if I want to expose myself right now, but last year I got into like a play fight, we'll call it that. Like it was literally just for fun with my friend, and with Henry. Do you remember Henry from Margad? Super buff, short.
Oh, was he Asian?
Asian guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should have said that first. Sorry. Yeah. So I was like, yo, Henry, I'd definitely be able to take you in a fight because he's big, right? But I have height on him. Mm-hmm. So we literally had like just like a fake fight for fun, and it ended. I I think I lost. I'm not going to admit that on camera. I don't know. There's no video footage. But we both fell to the ground, and I smashed my head off like floor like this, right? And that's the closest I've ever come, because like I stand up and I was like, this was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. After you do, like, before a fight like that, like, you're very like confident, like, you're kind of cocky, like, oh, I'll take you, man, this is no problem. But after you get your head knocked in, you kind of humbles you a little bit. So that was self-inflicted. So
was it the back of your head, or was it like the side?
it was the side. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like, I don't know anatomy too well. It was just like side of the head here. Temple.
Okay, you're lucky.
Yeah.
You're
is it?
very lucky, because
The back is
the
more
back
vulnerable.
of the head is where like I think you can think of it as I could be so wrong, so do not quote me. I'm totally in physiology. I am, but not skull physiology. But there's like a midline in the back of your head, especially because that's where I think you have like 3 bones, and like one is here, and then 2 are here, and then they all meet in the back like that, like kind of in a Y.
Okay. So I am lucky.
You are lucky because you didn't hit like on the midline where it could be a lot more.
That's tough. Well,
fragile.
that's a good educational moment there
Yeah.
for anybody. I mean, that's kind of, I should have known that, because there's rules in like boxing about you're not allowed to hit the guy in the back of the head because of, I'm sure, that reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Obviously. But yeah, I nowhere near the level of injuries you've struggled through, but I think the biggest, this is all gross. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I love gore.
Yeah. Okay. I had to deal with an ingrown toenail for like 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Which sounds like when most people think that, it's like not a huge deal, but I literally I'm not going to show you pictures, but it was disgusting.
No, but I'd totally love it.
It was bloody. Like, I literally, like, not every time, but like at least 3-4 days a week, I'd take my socks off and there would literally be blood marks on the socks. It was gross. Both feet. I looked like a penguin when I walked because I had to like get off of my toes, right? I couldn't put pressure on my toes. Like, I'm very grateful for literally just being able to walk right now, like, comfortably. And I can't imagine other problems that like I don't have, that other, like, there are people who are missing a leg, and people don't even think about that. Like, just like being able to walk with 2 limbs. Do you think that you've become grateful for other stuff more now since this has happened?
Yes, abso-freaking-lutely. Literally every single injury, I'm like, wow. You always take for granted. Like, you always hear this like around the internet. You take for granted. Oh my God, words. You always take what you have for granted.
Yes, that's it.
I promise it's because of the concussion. But you always take what you have for granted, and then you don't realize what you have until you lose it. Yeah. And like, you always hear that, and you're like, yeah, I get it. Like, okay. But like, as soon as you actually have something, even if it's like minor, such as like I don't know, a toothache or a runny nose, you're like, wow, I miss the days when I had clear sinuses. Yeah. Like, I could like go outside and breathe normally.
Or a sore throat. That's the main one for me.
That's fair.
Anytime I get a sore throat, I just like, I kind of sit there and I'm like, I think of all the times when I could swallow properly.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah. What, not counting the concussion, obviously I would think that's the worst of the injuries you've suffered. What would you rank?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Rank. In terms of physical, because I feel like concussions and like brain injuries and like physical injuries are on a whole different like playing field. Because like with head injuries, like you don't really feel hurt. Like there's no like pain, I guess. But what it affects is like your vision, your ability to like literally look at lights and like listen to things, and like going outside, just being completely over, like all of your senses are just overstimulated, and then you can't like do the things you like to do, like go on a run, go work out, see your friends, because like even being in like social settings is just too much. Yeah. And then for like physical things, obviously it's like, oh, it's more external, and like you'll have like a brace, you'll maybe be on oxycodone, like just a ton of painkillers and things like that. So in terms of head injuries, obviously concussion, whatever. And then in this other place, it's ACL to the knees. Sorry, ACL and then ankles.
This leads me to ask you, what are you studying? Because this should be like, are you interested in kinesiology now that you're like going through all this? Like, is that at least an interest?
Yeah, so that was my big thing coming into uni. So I did not realize that I was coming here because I thought I was going to go to this college called Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts, because it was my dream school. Yeah. And I submitted like a flute resume, like literally like letters of interest, everything. And then they still rejected me. But I'm still okay. I'm actually really glad. My mom always says, you know, you're always going to end up where you're supposed to end up. And I do find that that has been happening. But I just put like U of T down because my mom was like, Minla, please apply to Canada so we can maybe pay not like $1 million in the US for like housing and tuition. But I ended up coming here and I was like, I don't know anything about U of T. Like I didn't know like the programs, like anything. So I just came in as like life sci. Like I kind of just f***ed around on the application. I was like, okay, life sci, cool, science and arts. And so after first year, I did consider going into kinesiology because I thought I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. I actually don't know anymore. But I started like taking the courses, and I've always been more of like a humanities kid, even though like I find science very interesting. I'm just shit at math. Like I genuinely cannot calculate for the life of me. And so I started like looking at those courses, and I did human bio for like the first semester of second year, and I got a 25 on the midterm, and I dropped that course, and I was like, okay, where can we go? Because I cannot, like, if I have to do this for another 4 years, I'm probably going to die. So I was like, okay, what can we do? So I kind of looked at like my majors and minors, and I really wanted to do nutrition because I love, like, I just find the way like food and your body like interacting and like performance and how everything's just so interconnected. I was like, okay, let's try and get into nutrition again because I was rejected because first year I really didn't want to be here, and I just kind of fucked around and like talked and did not do any work. Don't do that. That is my number one advice. Even though first year is not as serious, like still take it serious.
First year is very important, guys. Never mind. No, maybe follow Minla's blueprint.
But actually, maybe don't.
There's enough leeway in first year.
Yeah.
Because obviously
that's fair.
Like, they know that people are coming in from everywhere. There's a bit of an adjustment.
Mixed bag, yeah.
Right? Culture adjustment, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weight that comes with first year that's not academic.
Yeah.
Just like adjusting yourself to life.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry. I'll let you continue.
Life sci, yes. So after first year, I decided, human bio because it was an open program. And then I had 2 minors in bioethics and medical anthropology because I really enjoyed medical anthro. And I was like, okay, I'll put in bioethics too. And then this past semester, I think what people have been saying is that second year you finally get to have a kind of taste of what you like doing, because I remember first year always thinking like, when am I going to have to use the partial pressure of air like ever in my life? Like I don't give a shit. Like all of the first year classes are just so broad, and I'm like, I don't care. And then second year you kind of start getting like tastes of, oh, this is kind of becoming more specific and more tailored to my interests, and you're starting to enjoy your classes more. So this past semester, I have also felt that I've been in bioethics, and I actually really enjoy the class because, you talk about like medical issues, like assisted dying and like abortion and like, what are the goals of medicine? And it's a lot more like philosophical than just like, here's a problem with like blood pressure, tell me what's wrong with them, right?
Is that a course that you, I guess, lean more towards in terms of like what you're going to do after uni? Are you more interested in like, I want to work in bioethics, or I want to literally be working in biology and medicine? I don't care about the I guess, moral side of it.
So I think
just from like a career standpoint.
From a career standpoint, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
I get that a lot on these episodes because I'm the same thing. Because I tell people with questions, I'm like, what do you want to do after uni? And they're like, I don't know. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, me neither, bro. But I'm just going to put you on.
Honestly, I've been hearing a lot about, I'm a very social person, and I was thinking about, I know with like surgery, you get to like, meet with the patients for 15, 20 minutes. And then you do your surgery and then you're like, here's some follow-ups, come to see me in like a month. But you don't really get to like build that kind of connection with someone, which I find is kind of similar with like a lot of medicine, which makes sense because you don't go every single day to the doctor. But I was like, especially with orthopedic surgery, it's not a lot of like socializing. So my prof was a clinical ethicist, and you know, families, while he didn't get to like see them like for years, he would have like really a lot of like talks with them about like a problem, although they were like really heavy problems, like do I take my mom off life support, like things like that. But I think just like being able to have a little bit more like empathy and like be able to show like, you know, I'm here, like I want to help you, like I'm still helping you with the medicine, but I'm not just being like, oh, here's your physical issue, let me help you with like some medicine. Like there's a lot more like emotional support that goes into ethics. What about you?
No, in terms of what I want to do after uni, it has nothing to do with school at this point. It's kind of a tough area to be in, where it's like, I kind of feel uncomfortable even like when I talk about this stuff with other people, like especially like my parents who are literally like, they're the reason I'm here, like at this school. It's like, it is absolutely a privilege to be getting this education and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like I just realistically looking at the future, am I going to be an economist? That sounds boring as shit. Yeah. And I don't think, and it's not like it's very, I don't know, there's not much room for growth. Like no one knows a rich economist. At the end of the day, I kind of want to just work for myself long term. I'm not trying to argue that I'm never going to have a job. That's ridiculous. Obviously, you need to work for people. But long term, I'd be interested in I guess starting my own thing, whatever, business related. And I don't know any independent economists who are out here like making a name for themselves. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's just my thing.
That's fair. I think I had a similar thing because as soon as I realized, I was like, I don't know if med school is for me because I don't know if I could like handle that. Because I am to a degree academic, but I also like enjoy other things in life, and like school for me is not like, life is not all school for me, and I know that also comes from a place of privilege because it's not like my life depends on getting an education to find something, to get a job, whatever. But after I was like, okay, maybe not med school, I was like, maybe physical therapy. I literally led physical therapy sessions in Ansley Hall in our music room with Rentaro and Andrea, because we all three of us sprained our right ankle basically within 2 or 3 weeks of each other. But I've always like given like physical therapy advice, and then when people are like, Minla, my knee hurts, or Minla, my ankle, or my hip hurts, I'm like, oh, try these exercises because this is what I've been given. And I was like, you know, I guess I could do that. My allergist's sister is a physical therapist, and she was like, my sister is miserable because, like you said, there's like kind of a roof in physical therapy. There's only so much seniority you can get in physical therapy where like your salary increases, and then also for the work they do, like they're not in school for as long as like doctors or whatever, but they don't get paid nearly as much as like how much they like actually work like with patients. And then the other thing is it's very patient dependent. I always heard my physical therapist being like, you know, we give them exercises, like we'll give you exercises, and I'm also guilty of not doing my exercises, but they're like, we can't help you if you don't do your own. And like I can just see how that can get really frustrating, and then the fact that you can't really like, you just see very similar injuries all the time, and it just, but like an office job, it could probably just get really, really repetitive. Yeah,
that's a good point. What is success? That's a good question. I'm trying to think of, I do think about the future a lot. I try, like obviously people say live in the moment, live in the present, which makes sense obviously. But you have to kind of have an idea of what you want, not necessarily how to get there, because that's not an easy thing to do.
Yep.
But all I do know is that I need I don't know. I want there to be change throughout my entire life. The idea of starting a job, whatever, working in some firm, just analyze the economy, whatever, and then doing that 60 years later. That sounds a little much. 45 years later.
You can always go back to school.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's another thing, is that I'm not the best student either. Right? Yeah.
Me either.
Like, not to say that I'm not, like, good at school, but I'm just saying that I'm not passionate about school. There are people who come here who are just like, oh, I'm so, like, they're like excited about whatever, their grades are like their peak success, which that's their thing. Like, that, I'm not criticizing that. It's just, that is, I'm trying to think of more once I'm out of university, because that's when you're going to get hit with, like, real problems and life and shit.
Real.
Yeah,
Real.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, yeah. What do you think about that?
I don't know if you. I have yet to watch Kellen's little episode. Yeah,
it's good.
But something he mentioned in the VSAC office a few months ago. He was like, all school does is prep you for more school.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't want to be in academia, like he was talking about how he was like, if I didn't have the personality I do, I would not have my Tesla job. Like, he was like, there's so many life skills that, and, you know, we've been hearing this from the beginning. Like, even in high school, people would be like, well, college doesn't teach you taxes. And it's, like, so true. Like, they don't prep you for living in the real world. They prep you for doing, you know, research in a lab or, you know, things like that. And so that's not really my goal either.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Which is also like, well, what do you do if that's kind of what they're pushing you towards? So.
It's weird, right? It's really interesting. And, like, there's people talk about how, like, you get conspiracy theorists saying, like, oh, the system's set up for you to fail, blah, 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 which I think that's kind of, like, people misinterpret that because it is very, like, conspiracy theory-ish, but it makes sense that the education system would be wrong to make everyone go and do exactly like what they would like to do, because you need people to do research and you need people in those areas, right? To just for the betterment of society. So not that it's not like an evil thing, it's just like society needs that to function, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I just see it, in my opinion, like, you need to find a way, if that's not your path, right? If that's not what you want to do, you need to find a way to kind of break out of that I guess conveyor belt that you're kind of moving towards.
Yeah, and there's also not a lot of support in that. Like, I know I was actually speaking last year because I was just so miserable first year. Because also I think it was just like coming out of COVID and also just not really kind of just like fucking around in high school and getting great grades. Like, I did do my work, but it wasn't like nearly to the degree of here.
Obviously, yeah.
And I was like, wow, I hate this. But I think something else that kind of influenced that was that, like, you know, there's just so much death. And then just like losing someone who's like very important to you kind of flips your perspective on like the importance of school. Because like when I lost my grandma over COVID, she didn't, like, it wasn't from COVID, but it was during that period. I was like, well, if we're all just gonna fucking die, I might as well, you know, if I'm gonna die tonight, if I'm gonna die tomorrow, if I'm gonna die next week, I don't know. I don't want to die having studied in the library for the past 7 days for the past 24 hours, because I'd be like, wow, that would be a really that's not my intended way of going.
Oh yeah.
But I forgot what the prompt was. I was coming to something, I just forgot what.
You got a good point though. Like, if but if someone is seeing studying in the library as like the key to their ultimate end goal,
Yeah.
I respect that.
No, absolutely.
But the thing is, like you were saying, and you're completely right, is that people in university aren't, like, majority of the people aren't trying to go down that route. Like, they're not trying to work in academia. I didn't even realize that was even like a thing. Like, obviously becoming a teacher and all that stuff, but like research or just working for a university, all this stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of, it's misguiding. It is kind of misguiding.
Yeah.
And you know, every day is a blessing. You don't know. You really don't know when you're last. Like, people expect that tomorrow is given when obviously that's not the case.
Yeah. But I remembered what I was going to say. But yeah, so they don't really tell you a lot about people who decide to go off that track, as you said, like off the conveyor belt. Yeah. And I remember thinking last year, like I was with my friends and they were like, university is not for everyone. It is okay to like take a gap year. And like it's just so ingrained in us to be like, high school, 4 years of college, go into master's, go into PhD, go into work, right? And it's like, I just remember thinking about all that time ahead of like school, and I was like, don't think I could do that. Yeah. And one of my friend's sisters actually dropped out of college, and my friend was like, I can like I can give you my sister's contact information because she's like doing well for herself. And she's not in school. And I was like, I did not follow her up because I don't know what my parents would say if I was like, Mom, I'm going to drop out of school. Yeah. But she would probably kick me. But I mean, you kind of just need a bachelor degree for like everything now.
No, that's true. And I think that the main thing is that like the older generation, like our parents or like and beyond that, grew up in a world where the people around them with the degrees were very, very successful. Mm-hmm. The people who didn't were just the high school flunks who went out and just decided, whether it was, I don't know, they were lazy. But now I think that the world has absolutely shifted where there are so many degrees. Mm-hmm. I think maybe Callan said that. I don't know who said this. There are so many, like, everyone now has a degree. He basically said it's like the new high school graduation. Callan did say that. And he's absolutely right, because there are so many, like, I feel like now more often there are more success stories of people saying, I didn't go to university, blah, blah, blah. And they're famous, like, obviously not everyone's going to be a Steve Jobs. I think the main thing is if you don't know what you're going to do out of high school, mm-hmm. you should go to university. You should go to college, because that was me, obviously. And I think that it makes sense, because a lot of, like, I was 17 when I got here, when you get out of university, right? Yeah. So it's, like, if you don't know what you want to do, yes, go to university, because it's better than doing nothing and just sitting around, right? But if you know exactly, if you have a long-term plan, mm-hmm. then like university isn't necessarily going to give you more than what you could possibly earn yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting.
I forgot there was something we were talking about, but like the whole conversation of, do you think knowledge is intrinsically valuable? Like,
I do.
Okay.
I'm not like anti-education.
Oh no, me either.
That's the thing. Like being educated is amazing. It's a superpower. Like, it's better than being uneducated.
It's a privilege, yeah.
It is, yeah. But I also believe there's a very big difference between education and intelligence. You can be uneducated and still have like a very firm grasp on, just like through your own personal experience and observations and having good analytical skills of the world in general. But I think people who are intelligent, like I think that's the connection made, is that you should understand the importance of education, and whether that's university education or just like reading yourself, like doing your own studies, like self-educating. Either way, it's good and it's important for you. But I do think you can be intelligent without being educated. What do you think?
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was actually having this is kind of relevant, but we were talking about the difference between like geeks and nerds. Okay. And we were saying, I can't even remember what the difference was, but like geeks, you're more geeky if you know a lot about Star Trek or Star Wars or things like that. And then you're more nerdy if you go on YouTube and you like watch Human Institute of Anatomy. I actually go watch Human Institute of Anatomy videos. They were so freaking interesting. I have always...
Shout out to nerds.
Shout out to nerds. Absolutely. So this will lead me into so we can talk about Birdwatch after this if you want. But I remember there was, it was roast beef night. And someone had posted on their story and I was like, oh my God, are you working with a cadaver? And they were like, no, it's roast beef from Birdwatch. But all to say that the Human Institute of Anatomy is just so, so interesting. And like, you don't need to be like a sciencey person to watch their videos. Like they're so freaking interesting, but they do use real cadavers. And like I said, I'm not like grossed out. I don't know if that's a red flag or something.
Like gore.
I do like
That's it.
Not in like movies.
That's
not in
gore,
movies though.
That's science.
Yeah.
Do you like Grey's Anatomy?
I haven't watched it.
Okay, me neither. I was
Okay.
wondering. But what freaks me out are the people who go on Reddit 50/50 and watch like, do you know what that is? It's like, it's something on Reddit, and you can you're given either a very nice video or a completely horrific video.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's a link, and you basically, whatever, you click play, and it says, cute puppy rolls in field, or guy falls from 30 feet building and spots.
Oh, God.
It's horrific. So that is a type of gore that I think is kind of revolting.
Oh, I 100% agree. I don't.
Like, I don't think that's what you're saying.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
I remember, I don't know why I stumbled across these videos. This is like a buried memory. Okay, actually, there's two buried memories. The first one is that there was this show, I think it was called 1,000 Ways to Die.
Okay.
And I had turned it on when I was like 4 or 5. Because usually, I watched like PBS. Really only PBS because my parents didn't let me watch Nick. But it was called 1,000 Ways to Die. And I remember there was one scene, it was like a talent show. Someone came up on the stage and there was like an ice bath. And they got in with the microphone and they got electrocuted to death. And I don't know why, but I just could not tear my eyes away. The other one, there was like a wrecking ball, like for a building.
Wait, how old were you when you watched this?
4 or 5.
Oh, man. Okay.
Like it scarred me. Yeah. Like my dad came in and I was just like staring at the TV and he's like, Minla, what are you watching? He was like, don't turn that on. But it was just like, there was also one with like two ladders and then like this attached with one ladder and someone like crawling on top of it and then it like collapsed in on itself and but that was the scariest thing. And then I forgot what the other thing was. But yeah, not things like that. It's just like if you go to a museum, there was a exhibition called probably just like human body exhibition, and I think I was like 11 or 12.
Are you one of the people who can't talk about like disgusting topics during dinner, like when you eat? Yep.
I love talking about gross stuff. Actually, one of the I told you so at my boyfriend's place they have a whiteboard and there's a would you rather that's set up, and two of the ones that I have made, one of them was would you rather, and this is also I think based off of a Reddit post. Yeah. It was like would you eat human flesh, like human meat? Like for no reason. Like to try it, like in a taco.
Oh, just for fun.
Because there was this one guy who was in like a motorcycle accident, and he had to have his like whole leg amputated. Yeah. And he ended up calling his friend who was a chef, and he was like, "Yo, would you like cook my leg and serve it to like a group of us?" Yeah. And they did it. And so I was like, "Would you try it?"
That's a good question. I don't know if it was put on the spot like that. If it was my boy's leg, maybe. If it was like
someone you knew,
it was like a cool occasion like that. But if it was just like I can go to a restaurant and order human flesh. Oh yeah, no. I might pass.
Okay, that's totally fair.
You know what I mean? It has to be like a cool occasion. It has to be like Minla's 8th injury. She has to get her leg amputated.
Knock on wood.
Okay, I don't know on Minla.
Yeah.
Something like that. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. Like you know where it comes from.
It has to be cool. It's a very interesting topic.
It is.
My mom is not a fan of disgusting things at the dinner table. My brother and I will talk about like gross things, and then she's like, and it's become like a joke now. Yeah. Where like I will say the slightest thing that is not like if I talk about anything that isn't food related, Troy, my brother, will be like, "Carter, don't say that. Don't talk about it. Mom's gonna freak out." And then she's just like it's kind of a thing. It's funny.
Moms at the dinner table. They're like a different beast.
They're great.
Yeah. One of the things that I do and my brother does is, she'll make like rice and then we'll put like tofu on top with like sauce or like beef or whatever. And what my brother and I do is like we mix it all, right? And she's like, "You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to like take one like chopstick full with like the rice on top, the rice on the bottom and like whatever on top, and then eat it like that. You're like it's not it's not good table manners to like mix it like this.
Family dinners. I hope they're big in everyone's families.
They're not.
They're not, right?
They're not.
That's unfortunate.
I know.
It's kind of sad.
I know. Do you
eat with your family?
Yeah, I was about to ask. Do you eat dinner with your family like every night?
Basically.
Yeah, same.
Basically.
I remember 9th grade. I was going to my friend's house, and like had been over quite a few times, and then I don't know. It might just be because of work, but he'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna order pizza for dinner," and I'm like, "But your brother's in the other room and your mom's in her room. Like, what? Are you guys not just gonna eat together?" And he goes, "No, not really."
That's ridiculous. Because I knew a guy who literally, his mom would make all the food, and the brothers would literally just take it like
into their rooms.
Yeah, into the rooms and eat on their own.
No.
That's ridiculous.
That's so ridiculous.
It's kind of disrespectful.
I honestly think, because my mom's from Canada and like Italian background, and then my dad's from Australia. I think, was this like here or in the U.S.?
It was here, but he was, I don't know where he was from. He was actually Middle Eastern, which seems like completely contrary to like most of my Middle Eastern friends, like very family oriented. Yeah. But this was like, I don't know, it's like a rare case. Yeah,
I was gonna say like in the U.S. there's not really a lot of stress on like family dinners, like there was probably in like the 1950s, right? Yeah. Like come home to mother's cooking. Yeah. But I think that the fact that having parents that are from like different areas that are not just from North America probably changes the dynamic of like eating and that like makes sense. Yeah.
I got an American question for you.
Oh God, actually. I'm scared.
No, I just thought about this.
Okay.
Do you take your shoes off when you walk into your house?
Yes, I do now.
You do now.
I used to when I was like up until probably like actually no, we've always taken our shoes off. I think on normal days we do, but if you're going in to like grab something, like they don't take their shoes off, like my parents don't. But now and my friends know me notoriously for being like, wait, don't take one more step into my room, take your shoes off. Because I did not when it comes specifically to my bed, like other things are game, but like I'm extremely germophobic, like shoes outside shoes on the bed, outside ridiculous. Clothes on the bed. No, but like outside clothes. Do you agree with that? Like
that part, I'm not gonna say I disagree. Like I get it.
Okay.
But I just don't do it. I put outside clothes on my bed. My girlfriend freaks out about that.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal.
It is a big deal because then you're getting like all of the ickiness from outside onto your clean bed sheets, and then when you like go into your clean
ickiness of like air.
There's so much pollution out there.
That's
yeah, and then.
Argument.
But it's true. And then like when I don't know if are you a night shower or a morning shower?
Both.
So one shower in the night and morning, or like it depends?
No, it depends. Like I don't know. Ideally morning. You know what I mean?
Ew.
What do you mean ew? Like okay, no, it depends on what I have to do. Like if I'm coming back from a hockey game at night, obviously I'm gonna shower at night, so I'm gonna sleep smelling like ass. But
yeah.
If it's in the morning, like I like to start my day clean. Why are you going to bed clean?
Okay.
No one's with you at night. Why you gotta
You're with
clean?
yourself, right? So the whole thing is, you shower at night. You're nice and clean.
Okay.
You go into your freshly washed bed sheets, right? That's a clean body and clean sheets. Mm-hmm. As soon as you take your like day body and you don't wash it at night and you put that whole day body into that bed, those sheets underneath now are contaminated with the day. Wait. Like they're not clean anymore.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is I am notorious for doing this. Like I get in trouble for outside clothes on the bed. Obviously shoes, anyone who's putting their shoes on their bed is a psycho.
Yeah.
First of all, that's my first point. Second of all, in terms of, I don't know, but you sweat in the night. Your sheets are dirty. Like anyone, I think people who are gonna live under the lie that their bodies. Wait. I think people are just naturally gross.
You know, that's so fair.
And you sweat when you sleep.
Okay, but
I do at least. Naturally, human beings is what I meant.
do you keep your window open, or like what
I
temperature
cannot
do you
do
think
that.
your room is at?
I cannot do that because a squirrel jumps on my window and the screen is ripped open, so he could just come and take a nap with me. So I'm too afraid. But temperature, I'd rather sleep in the cold,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because then you get under. Winter sleeping is way better than summer sleeping.
Mhm.
Summer sleeping
Yes.
is a mess.
I agree.
Winter, it's cold. Get under the blankets and you chill.
Mhm.
Whereas in the summer, dude, okay, I don't sleep naked. I think it's a little awkward if people do that. Well,
It's actually a lot healthier for your body, unless you're. Okay. Well,
that seems like a cop out also. But
it is though.
Is it actually?
Yeah, you like let everything breathe.
Okay.
Okay, unless you're like farting at night, because then you don't want like all of
It's
that.
gonna recirculate.
But that's like why you wear underwear.
My intent, yeah. Okay, so that's what I was saying, is that my whole point. I will get down to just boxers.
Me too.
Because I am like, it's hot.
Mhm.
It's hot. I need to chill. I need the air on my skin.
Facts.
So, winter is way better. I'd rather not be like a disgusting mess in the summer in the bed.
Do you sleep with pajamas on in the winter then, or do you keep only underwear?
No, I'll probably do pajamas. I'm a
Okay.
pajama guy. I usually go shirtless because that's just unnecessary laundry, but
That is so true. And also, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but if you're wearing a shirt, I toss and turn in my sleep.
absolutely, me too.
And so, like, I'll wake up and my shirt will be like this, and I'll be like,
Yeah. My dad snores big time.
oh my god, me too.
How is he? My dad like he's bad at sleeping. He has a. I don't want to make fun of my dad. He has a mask for sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My aunt has sleep apnea too.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think, first of all, it is completely his fault because this guy would sleep with a pillow on his face for like years.
Holy shit.
I don't know why he was doing that, but
It's to
literally-
block the sun out probably, or the light.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the sun as in like me. Like
Oh.
me from like
Yes.
talking so loud. Maybe. No,
Yeah.
but I'd walk into his room and he'd literally just be there with like a cushion over his nose and mouth. Obviously he's gonna get sleep apnea.
I don't know if that's how it works, but
Are you sure?
I actually don't know
I think
much
it's
about it.
hard breathing during sleep, like he could like it has trouble breathing.
Does he have trouble breathing during the day too?
No. It's just sleep. I don't know.
My friend's dad also sleeps with a pillow over his face, so
It's coming. The mask is coming soon.
yeah, I don't know. I always have this conversation with friends because, you know, we see like elementary school kids, like their hands are like this tiny and the phone's like
Yeah.
this, and they're like, oh my god, I didn't have that when I was in elementary school. And like,
iPad.
it is. And so the question is, if you have kids, when would you give them a screen?
That is a good question. I was actually gonna see that.
Oh, really?
Well, like as we were talking here, yeah.
Okay.
Ask that question.
Like great minds think alike.
There we go. I do want kids, yeah,
Mhm.
100%. When would I give them screens? Probably high school.
Yeah.
I think high school. I got my first iPod when I was younger than that. Like I got it at like 10.
Me too, 5th grade.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I got like my first phone when I was 15. Like actual phone, like I could call people.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't have one until then.
Wait, where did you grow up?
Orangeville, very small. You can kind of
Orangeville.
scream to people. Ontario. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like an hour and a half away from here. It's a small town.
Got it.
But I went to high school in Brampton,
Mm-hmm.
which is bigger, much bigger.
Yeah.
Um,
Did your parents drive you to school then?
no, I took bus. As far
Oh,
away.
wow.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
a 3-hour. Well, no, it was an hour and a half there and back.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, I don't know. I guess my parents just didn't see the need.
Mhm.
If I needed to make any emergency call, obviously school has a phone.
Yeah.
And it was considered more of a distraction than anything. So I think for me I think our generation hopefully will understand more like we're going to try to keep our kids away from the screens as long as possible, because older generations just like see it as I can pay $400 for an iPad instead of paying like $5,000 on a bunch of different toys every year. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the idea. It's like distract my kid with this.
Yeah, because parenting is hard, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm gonna do my best to go through the hard path of like not just copping out with an iPad, and yeah, because it's bad. I think it's kind of detrimental. To
definitely is. Oh no, as soon as I got my iPod, 6th grade, I got my first pair of glasses, and from then it's just been downhill.
Yeah, right.
Like I keep my screen. I don't know if it actually helps or anything, but I always have it on night shift now, so there's no like blue light. And like I used to stay up because my mom would be like, put your iPod on the counter, and then I'd like put my DS or something. And then I would stay up until 6 a.m. just like with the screen like my phone like this, and I was like, oh, it just screwed everything up. And also I just don't have an attention span anymore, which I think is like a lot of people's issues now. But high school definitely. I had a punish. Oh, if I have, I don't know. You hear all those things. I don't know if you've ever heard of the girl with the list of like all the things that can go wrong or like happens to you when you give birth to a child. Like possibly adoption.
I think a lot. Yeah, I think a lot of like girls are being scared by the idea of pregnancy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But more so than before. Like it's weird because I think before it was kind of like more pushing the idea of how amazing motherhood is, but now it's like pregnancy is fucked.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because I'm a dude, I'm not gonna have to deal with this, so I hope people don't like hate me for my opinion. But I think it's obviously pregnancy is difficult. It's hard, but the payoff is so huge. Like you literally create life. That's kind of like the way I see it.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just the fact that women have always been pushed towards motherhood, and then like it's like normal. It's very like, oh yeah, that's what we do when we become 30, 33, 34. And so it's kind of not really talked about, because then it's just like, well, you're going to go through it, so everyone goes through it. It's normal, right? And then as we get more, through different social media platforms, it's all, oh, here was my experience, and it was bad. And they don't tell you about this because they'll be like, oh, it's the best 9 months of your life. Like, it's an amazing, it's a whole human is growing in your body. Everything's amazing. And then everyone, the people that actually experience it, they're like, I threw up every single morning. Like, my teeth fell out, my hair fell out, whatever. But there's probably a study about this, but we were learning about like the effects of like vitamin deficiencies and things like that. Like folate has to, like, if you don't have enough folate, you can have like a neural tube in your brain not close correctly. So I do wonder how much of like pregnancy issues come from maybe lack of nutrients, because so much of it goes to the baby too. Sure, it's also once again very individual, like concussion. So. Again.
Very, very true. Good full circle.
Yeah.
Pregnancy is individual, just like concussions. That's that. No, you're right.
Humans are all individual.
This has been a very good time. Very good talk. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it, and good luck with finals. Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts? If you get the chance, do this. It's very fun. It is very fun.
Shouting out the podcast.
Shout out to Voices of Vic by Carter Ponce. Woo!
Thank you so much. Once again, thank you for coming on. Good luck.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, thank you for listening. See you next week.
Wait, that was so fun.
That's awesome.
You're a good interviewer.